Grand Rapids Airport to Saginaw, and I realized the enormity of your sacrifice coming round trip. It's not that simple, but luckily it's dry pavements, dry roads, nice beautiful night in Michigan, and I hope that you enjoy it. I had a second announcement, but I lost it. Probably it's not important. Therefore, let me go into my planned speech. And it was in November 2005. And I received an interesting statement from the videographer saying, I got 2 tickets for the Ellen show. Now, in 2005, that was the 3rd season for Ellen DeGeneres. It was the number 399 show that she recorded in the NBC studios in Burbank. That's significant. And I was short on frequent flyer miles, as I always do in this month of the year, and I said, let's go. I didn't expect anything out of it. We always learn. We get to Burbank, we settle in a sleazy motel about a mile distant from NBC studios. Then we find a Ross store, you know, it's the brother-sister store of TJ Maxx and the others. And we go to buy some hot shirts, loud shirts, so that when the eye of the camera will be identifiable. Well, this is actually going to be the one, really. Chuck had a real red hot shirt. I mean, fiery. And now it's Monday, and at about 11 a.m., this guy wakes up unusually early and says, we have to get going because we have to be in line. And I said, huh? What? So early? Yeah. I said, really? He says, really? Authoritatively? Well, I don't know anything about TV shows. We got there at 2 p.m. and the entire block around the studios was lined with people waiting to get into the show. Everybody had an invitation. They were eating, drinking, tailgating, picnicking, and yakking on their cell phones. About at 4, the staff started to go in and bring into the studio, going through security. Clearly, we didn't make it to the studio that afternoon. We were just too far behind. But the gopher for the producer go and ask people, where are you from? What's your story? And so on. They look for attention-grabbing stories for presentation as a speech for Ellen, by the way, to see interest the viewing audience at home. And we say we're from Michigan. He said, we'll give you a concession. You are going into the riffraff room. Do you know what's a riffraff room? No. Do you know what riffraff is? Riffraff is the unimportant people who come and go from Skid Row. Now, the riffraff room is actually an extension, overflow of the studio. It has nothing besides carpets from ceiling to floor and walls. And in the middle there are 4 or 5 tables covered with carpets. You can sit on it or you can stand on it. It doesn't matter. There's just speakers. You can hear from what's going on in the studio. The show starts. We listen. And the gophers say to us, you know, if you'll be riotous, maybe that will attract Ellen and the camera to come visit you in the middle of the show. Well, I decided to be riotous. And I stand on one of those tables. I unbutton my shirt, I tie it up, and I start dancing and yelling. And there are a majority of Ellen viewers are women. And a bunch of 5 women are after me, standing by me and throwing at me dollar bills. And shamelessly, I pick them up and I put them under my belt. Oh. You know who does that. So, and the gophers come back and say, well, you were okay, so we have a consolation prize, and we are handed Ellen t-shirts. There it is.
Yep.
So this is a real story. And then they say, Chuck makes friends with them, and they say, well, you're from Michigan. Well, it's good to be from Michigan for a change. And come tomorrow, and they takes out 2 tickets, number 24 and number 25. You are at the head of the line tomorrow. Can you make it tomorrow? Luckily, when tickets back were on Wednesday. We show up tomorrow, Tuesday, early. And we are whisked to security, and we are seated in the middle of the studio seats, sitting. Show starts. And Ellen starts with a spiel, and she dances, and she jumps, and then she tells us about Donna Sotolamakia. You can't forget that name from now on. Donna Sotolamakia is one of those cases that they discovered that had a problem getting. She drives a 1985 Dodge van that stalled on the wrong flat tire. She came with her mother. Oh God, what a sad story. The staff takes the 1985 Dodge for repairs. Jumping fast forward, at the end of the show, the sets open up, and she's going to get back the Dodge repaired and detailed. But this time it is red, hot, Mercury Mariner 2005. And Lord, the audience gets crazy and whistles and yells and claps hands. Exciting. Then comes the surprise guest. And in walks Martha Stewart of Martha Stewart Living. Now, just to remind you, in 2004, she was convicted and sent to federal prison for insider trading over $300,000 measly dollars, some defunct biotech company. Now you don't go to jail even for $50 billion. And Martha comes in, and she sits next to Ellen, and they start that polite chit-chat. And then Martha says to Ellen, you probably want to know how it was on my sabbatical. And she insists that her term in prison should be referred to as a sabbatical. She's in the sabbatical, and she tells us how she was cleaning the captain's and lieutenant's quarters for 12 cents an hour, Martha Stewart's, earning every day 96 cents. But this is Martha Stewart. What did she do in jail? She wrote first draft for 2 books. One business book and one recipe, 200 recipe cookbook. She had some other idea. By the time she left jail, they were already in print by her publishing subsidiary, Martha Stewart. Then she says, well, you know, my philosophy, you got a lemon, you have to make always a lemonade. The conversation dialogue goes back and forth. I did not hear one word, and I have the DVD recording. She never made one complaint. She didn't say anything negative about anybody. So Ellen asked her, so how did you accomplish all that? And she says, I do, 4 times do. I sleep 4 hours a night, work 20 hours a day. She has 2 TV shows going at the time, Apprentice and Martha Stewart Living in a radio talk show, and that's the way she works. It was amazing. An insuppressible spirit, gloriously positive, going on with life. Federal prison? It's a sabbatical, a university learning experience with 2 doctoral degrees already in publication. Thank you very much.